Counting down to pre-open, and the indications are that we'll have perhaps a flat start. Nishchal Maheshwari is with us, CEO of Institutional Equities at Centrum. Nishchal, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. I wanted your thoughts first on Kotak Mahindra Bank. This ING stake sale, of course, had an impact on Friday. But you reckon it's the risk reward is favorable here at 1240?
Morning, Anuj. Yes, I believe it's a favorable thing basically because I believe if I look at around 1240 rupees, there is a value for around, if we calculate according to us, around 200 rupees is the value of various subsidiaries. So you are getting effectively 2.7, 2.8 times Kotak, the core banking. I think that's a good price to get into these kind of, at these prices for Kotak Bank.
Okay. Good morning, Nishchal. What is your sense about both Reliance Capital and Reliance Nippon? More importantly, Reliance Nippon, there are reports that other people also want to buy and not just Nippon. You think now both these stocks could have some green?
Morning, Lata. We do not have coverage on Reliance Capital, but definitely I think asset management business is a rising business. It's a sunrise sector. We have seen just the tip of iceberg as far as the equity from the retail is concerned. So I believe definitely it's got a very, very bright future. So I'm not surprised that there are more players basically beyond Nippon who are interested in this kind of a stake. At these prices, definitely one should look at Reliance Nippon basically. But capital, obviously, we do not have under coverage, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that.
Okay, we're getting the first rates on the screen, and the Nifty is showing a 16-point uptick for what it's worth, and that's because of a rate on Indiabulls Housing Finance. It's definitely not looking like a real rate, 9% up. So let's wait for that to settle. Otherwise, the pre-open suggests some positivity on tech. Once again, that's been the key pillar for the markets. TCS, Infosys. Some of these stocks are on the upside. Lever on the upside to begin with as well.
Some strength in the rupee. That's because obviously crude is lower. But okay, now the Nifty is showing a little more green of 30 points. No realty stock indications? If we have any real estate stocks, we should be flashing
Prestige, all of them are DLF 10% if you want to go by pre-open rates.
Not 10.
So there's green, I mean, in the pre-open at least on the realty space.
Okay. Well, clearly this is overstated. It may not be 10%, but yeah, affordable housing, especially people like Soba should benefit, I would assume. That they are into affordable housing. Nishchal, have you gone through the list of stocks that may benefit? We just spoke to Sudhin Choksi and he was quite tentative about any impact on the sector in general, but he thought affordable housing was getting a good deal. Would you like anything?
So I think I would look at it in two phases basically. One itself, the cut in the GST prices for the real estate sector. A sector I think which is a very, very important sector for the economy and the largest employer. So I think that's one positive part basically that the government is trying to revive this sector through these cuts. Secondly, yes, I do agree basically I don't think so there's going to be any immediate impact, given that most of these builders are anyway trying to pass on this benefit of GST to the end consumer, and still we do not see demand. So as and when we see an economic revival, I believe, I think this is going to be positive for the real estate sector. I think these stocks we have anyway well chosen basically because wherever there is affordable housing, and I remember Puravankara also to be one big player basically as far as affordable housing is concerned. But in bits and pockets, everybody has now gone into the affordable housing space, but it's very, very small for others. So I think I agree with you with Shobha and Puravankara. I think these are the two guys basically who have large amounts of affordable.
Okay, just watch out for two more stocks in pre-open. Jet Airways, which is down 3% because of that report that maybe finally this airline gets taken to NCLT. And the brokers, there's red around Motilal Oswal and IIFL Holdings as well. So these are some more stocks that we're watching out for.
Now I think the market wants to believe this GVK news. So 20% uptake on GVK Power. Penny stock, of course, but and the market's in that kind of mood right now. You've seen all kind of stocks. Suzlon, for example, over the last 2 days has seen a big rally. So all kind of these stocks are seeing a bit of a move. Also, ADAG will be interesting because both Rel Infra and Rel Cap out of F&O ban. So that always gets market excited. So both these stocks doing well. Nishal, the other one that I wanted to discuss with you was Tata Motors because it's had a decent rally from its lows, but still not recovered that one-day loss that we had after the last quarter's numbers. But at current levels, what's the call on the stock?
So we have an accumulate on the stock basically, and I believe still it is not out of the woods, given that the outlook as far as the China is concerned, it's very, very hazy. Again, on the balance sheet side also, I don't believe this is the last one which we've seen a write-off. So I think these are two things basically which one has to keep on looking out for. But I do agree basically as and when we see some revival, especially on the demand side, I think stock can be bought. But I think this is a good price to keep on accumulating this stock. I see limited downsides as far as Tata Motors is concerned.
Okay, Nishal, do stay on. We have to invite Mr. SP Tulsian of sptulsian.com as well into the discussion. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much. Well, first up, I wanted to ask you about this Adani Ports thing. I mean, they are purchasing Adani Agri at 946 crore, if I'm not mistaken. And according to their presentation, they are not going to make profits for a couple of years now. And it's only by 2025 that it is a substantial profit. Is this going to be a big overhang for Adani Ports?
Lata, difficult to assess the impact, because these are all the futuristic business, and I don't think that one can really just take the profit call. In fact, we need to understand the potential of the business, that how fast they can really grow. In fact, the case in points, one can talk of the retail or maybe the e-retail business, where the profits are not even seen visible maybe for the next 5 years as well. And in spite, they are receiving very good valuations, because agri retailing is a very promising business going forward, and the way the things are happening, maybe the overseas investors also taking a lot of interest, but because of the regulatory restrictions, they are not permitted. So I'm in fact keeping positive view, but again looking to the quantum of about maybe 1,000 crore, one can say that this is a big amount, but I don't think that that should be seen as a big amount for Adani Port. So one should really assess the potential instead of the profitability.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Tulsian, good morning, sir. Your thoughts on what transpired with respect to the brokers and the revocation of the fit and proper license for the commodity business, both for IIFL and for Motilal Oswal, and whether you think the impact, if any, will be very limited and restricted to just those stocks, or do you see any sentiment spillover here?
See, Surabhi, I don't think that this impact will remain restricted or confined only to these two companies, because firstly, let me say that this order is seen to be quite favorable, and in fact, let me say that though some of the aggrieved brokers have said that even they are seen to be the affected party having lost money, but the professional incompetence or maybe the professional negligence was seen definitely existing there on part of the brokers, which has led to this kind of amount having lost by many of the retail investors, and because of they having believed that the amount which they are financing or which they are investing is amply backed by the commodity, for which the brokers have taken care of. So yes, the things will spill over. In fact, if you take the cases of the EOW notices of having issued to 300 brokers, and even on the listed space, there are many companies. I think the similar order will follow against many of the brokers from the SEBI, and as well as now SEBI having issued this order, this will give the strength to EOW also to initiate the process against the errant brokers, which are seen to be maybe about more than 100 to 200 in number.
Okay. Well, Mr. Tulsian, the inevitable question on real estate, how did you, what has been your take on the raft of announcements of rate cuts?
I think, Lata, this is an excellent move, and in fact, now I see the lot of positives coming in for the real estate sectors, maybe in respect to the improvement in the demand. Because first, if you take the affordable housing, the effective savings can be seen at maybe at about 3 lakh rupees plus. in a flat of about 45 lakhs, because the limit has been increased from 25 lakh to 45 lakhs. Even in the non-metropolitan, the area has been increased from 60 square meter to 90 square meter, though it has been kept unchanged in the metropolitan, and I don't think that the increase in the metropolitan area was required. So this is seen to be very positive, and in fact, I think here again, the excesses of the real estate companies, they were not seen passing the benefits of the input credit to the flat buyers. And I can say that authoritatively that in case of the old sales, they have said none of the builders have offered that input credit to the buyers. They say that we will see on completion of the project after 2, 3, 4 years, and at that time we will decide that what credit has to be given. And apart from that, even there was seen to be a lot of leakages and the pilferages or the misuse of the input credit being used by the builders or maybe by the developers, because we all know cement enjoys 28% GST, and the input credit was blatantly used by these developers. So that loophole also has been plugged, and I am very happy that now this will revive the real estate industry, because 12% was seen to be quite high because the flat buyers were not enjoying the input credit, and I think this will be increasing the depth of the real estate market with transparency and better sales, which should benefit both builders as well as the flat buyers.
All right, Mr. Tulsian, thanks a lot for your thoughts on all these stocks and sectors, and of course we'll talk to you in closing bell now. But for now, pre-open has settled, and it settled with decent gains, 21 points on the Nifty, 66 points on the Bank Nifty, and of course the Sensex up about 100 points. Nishchal, before we let you go, just wanted your thoughts on a stock like Yes Bank, how to approach it now. There's been so much news flow over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
So I think it's at an interesting point. I think quite a few of the negatives are already priced in. So we have got a new management in place now, and I think the divergence report also gives it a clean sheet. Two things I would look out for. One is basically after the new CEO takes over from 1st of March, how does he declare his first quarter or so, 1 or 2 quarter results? Basically, is there a kitchen sinking or not? And the second challenge is basically that they have to raise capital. So I think how soon basically it's going to happen and at what prices. I think these are the only 2 things basically I would look out for. Obviously there has been questions about whether Yes Bank can grow at the same pace basically which it was doing under Rana. But I still believe that it has become an institution now, and doing a 25-30% growth, I don't see much of a challenge basically. So I think this is a good price to get into Yes Bank, and then on every dips also one should be looking to add.
Okay, thank you very much, Nishchal, for being with us this morning and giving us your views on a bunch of stocks.